Hello, this is Kate, welcome to the Ordinary Earth Song. Yeah, so I'm doing another reading. I'm blown away by another reading I just watched by a lady who has a channel called Beyond Tarot. Honestly, she is absolutely amazing, very attuned and spot on. So anyway, I'm in this headspace now of wanting to do a reading, or three. I'm going to do a pick a card. It's currently 33 degrees in the UK. I have my air conditioning on and I am not turning it off, so I do apologise for any background noise because I can't survive without air conditioning. Having MS means heat does not treat me kindly. So I've been drawn to do some readings using cards I never use. I got these at the beginning of my discovery of readings, wanting to do ones for myself, and I've got these. I was told I needed to use round ones, so these are my round ones. I'm not using my archetypes deck because I use that one a lot, and I believe these are round anyway. I haven't looked at them for a very long time. Yes, they're round. I should have done this before starting, really. And they're round. Okay, cool. And then these two, Whispers of Healing and Journey of Love. Now, I don't use these. I squirreled them away because they were ones I didn't use as often as the ones I've got to hand. And I've just gone over and was told the round ones and then these two. So let's see what comes out. First things first, we need our groups. So that's our groups. So let's just see what comes out, shall we? As I've got no idea what this is going to be about today. It's just, I love the backs of these cards. They're gorgeous. Very pretty. Very, very pretty. I'm not going to use the book. This will be purely intuitive. Make sure I want them. Okay. Some are upside down, some are the right way up. Okay. If some are upside down and some are the right way up, which ones are the right way up and which ones are upside down? I guess it depends on how I'm holding the deck, right? So that's group one. Transform. And we have group two. That one. Oh, forgot these are Commit to Happiness. Move these across. And group three, another Ruminate. Interesting. So, group one, Transform. Group two, Commit to Happiness. And group three, Ruminate. I will see you in your readings. And as per usual, I'm not going to be editing. So, transform. Transformation. Is there a need for transformation? Guidance towards the transformation from the state we're currently in to a state of more beauty, joy and abundance. And there's electricity here, and it's making me go to the thought that whilst this is a light process, it's electric, maybe a bit challenging, maybe a bit dangerous, maybe a bit difficult, let's say. Difficult. But, yeah, because like caterpillars, don't they, I just realised my light's a bit rubbish there, isn't it? Caterpillars become goo when they're in the chrysalis. I don't know, how does that feel when they're goo and then they come out as a butterfly? So they have to go through a gooey stage, a stage of being taken apart, a stage of reforming. But before they can reform, they have to break down and they have to become a gooey mess. It's contained within the chrysalis, but there's still a gooey mess. That is probably the challenging part, right? Because you don't know what you're going to become, maybe, or you can see the end goal and the end product and the end kind of thought, but getting there isn't always clear, isn't always easy, and it involves becoming a gooey mess before you can start reforming into this new shape. Okay, sounds like fun, doesn't it? Sounds like immense fun. I'm loving it. Okay, so we're going to go to this Circles of Healing card. Now, I am noticing that with my new setup here, my light is causing a shadow where my phone is. I'm just going to have to move this. So, rejiggering my... Is that better? I have no idea, guys. Okay, transform. I think that is better, isn't it? Now, Circles of Healing. Oh, that one. Oh, 333. Your path is in accord with the universe. Spiritual protection for creative expression. Purple ray aligns heaven and earth. Oh, that's a beautiful card. Look at that. This is right up my alley, this is. Why don't I use these cards? I have no idea. They are gorgeous. 333, that's a power number. Purple ray aligns heaven and earth, aligns heaven and earth. Your path is in accord with the universe. Your transformation is in accord with divine timing, with the way things are going to be. Because your path is in accord with the universe. Spiritual protection for creative expression. So whilst you're in this gooey stage, you are protected. Because your creative expression is going to be manifest. Manifest. Ooh, that one. Clearly wants to go. Oh my goodness, what's this card? What number are we? Oh, there is no number on this card. Okay. My soul is blessed and growing into a loving vision of exquisite evolution. Ooh, clear and refreshed. The third eye sees the truth. I love that. What a beautiful card again. I love that. Clear and refreshed. From the gooey stage of transformation, the third eye sees the truth. My soul, or your soul, is blessed and growing into a loving vision of exquisite evolution. What that's gorgeous. Clear and refreshed. The third eye sees the truth. Our soul is blessed and growing into a loving vision of exquisite evolution. Oh, wow. Right. One more from this deck. Ooh. Okay. Two more from this deck. We'll go for that, shall we? Wow, look at this card. I thrive in the new and unfamiliar. Ooh, I thrive in the new and unfamiliar, expanding the loving expressive influence of my soul for the highest good. I thrive in the new and unfamiliar. So after the transformation, there is going to be a series of moments of thriving, of being an abundant person, of coming out the other side, and you're going to thrive in unfamiliar territory because you're going to come out different. Transformation means coming out different. It's evolution, and whilst you're going through the evolution process, you are protected. But coming out the other side of the evolution process, is there any such thing as coming out the other side of an evolution process? Because evolution never stops. But every time you go through a process, you do come out of the other side, and you might look back and think, whoa, that's more familiar than this. What I used to be is way more familiar and probably more comfortable than this. I'm not that comfortable anymore, but we've got assurance that you're going to thrive in the new and unfamiliar. You have to embrace the unfamiliar. Move into it. Become it. Be the unfamiliar. Make it familiar for you. I nurture my dreams along the spiraling creative path to higher fulfillment, nourished by hope and empowered by inspiration. Oh, come on. I nurture my dreams along the spiraling creative path to higher fulfillment, nourished by hope and empowered by inspiration. That's what keeps you moving forward. That's what, after you've gone through this process of emergement from transformation, of divinely inspired evolution, where you are protected during that process, you come out and you're able to thrive in the unfamiliar and the familiar. But you're able to deal with new, you're able to deal with different, you're able to deal with that on a new level because you have this motivation, this spiritual guidance, this inner drive to accept it for one thing. And you want to accept it because it's part of what you've chosen to do. You've chosen this path, you've chosen to go down this route, you've chosen to listen to your guidance. But it's also a dream that's been inspired by the creative path that you've been given from the higher self, from the fulfillment that you need in your life, because we all need that level of fulfillment. We all need to feel and have a sense of nourishment, of spiritual nourishment, not just in the body, in the spirit. We need that sense of nourishment, and that sense of nourishment comes from hope and having the power to fulfill that hope, to actually make it come alive and be that. Because the process of being in this existence, of being a spiritual being and having a human experience, is being alive. It's being able to evolve. It's being able to go through the gooey stage of transformation, choosing to go into that gooey stage, choosing to go into the challenge of the gooey stage, knowing that you'll come out the other side, but also making choices along the way where you are deciding to be different and new and moving into unfamiliar territory constantly, and that's uncomfortable, but it's a choice, and we are motivated because we have this dream, this need to nourish our souls to be completely who we know we truly are. And who we truly are is, I wanted to say, the words wanted to come out as unfulfilled potential, because as we are right now, potentially within the framework of our current lives, from the programming of how we got to where we are now, how fulfilled are we? How nourished is our soul? There is always going to be some unfulfilled potential because we haven't evolved all the way, and we can't evolve all the way, so there'll always be unfulfilled potential, because there's always more potential to pull out of the field, of all potential, which is conscious awareness, which is the void, which is the source of everything, on all things. That is the field of all potential. And we're constantly living in a state of pulling more potential out and making it manifest in the 3D, and realizing that, bringing forth what is possible from the potential. So there's always unfulfilled potential, but we can choose a path of evolution that pulls more out of that force, that field of unfulfilled potential, into the realized, this is what that actually means. I hope that makes sense. Okay, we're going to go to Journey of Love by Alana Fairchild, who has like 1 million oracle decks, and they're all amazing. Because this is a journey of love, right? This is a journey of transformation, evolution, hope, bringing forth dreams, realising more potential from the field of unrealised potential, and being the catalyst for that realisation, and being the catalyst consciously, and being aware of the fact that you are consciously choosing to be the catalyst, means that you are doing it with awareness. And awareness is a choice. And it's something that I don't think we're always weirdly aware of. I don't think we always know we have a choice, because we get stuck in the realm of the real world, or the 3D of the real world. I'm saying that with inverted commas. We get stuck in that that drumbeat of living, of being, of surviving, of being and living and surviving, of surviving and living and being, of interacting with everybody else at the same time, of internal wars that are going on, internal thought processes, the need to do that, the requirement to do this, the obligation, which is all life. It's all life. Angel of Jupiter awaken. I might have to look at the book. Oh, I've got 3 cards. Angel of Jupiter awaken. And there's a spiral of experience, existence, Jupiter awakening. Lovers, and guardian of the soul family. Okay, let's see what the book says about these. 6. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, I'm going to read the poem. Awake in your arms, I await to stop time, savouring each moment for an eternity. Like an angel you light the moon, your love giving life to the love I've held within. Unbridled and free, our dream unfolds, and we are forever changed. Your love giving life to the love I've held within. Unbridled and free, our dream unfolds, and we are forever changed. Our dream unfolds, our dream unfolds. I wish I knew more about the planets. I need to study. The problem is it hasn't stuck in my head before. I have read this stuff, but I have to repeat it. I have to repeat it again and again and again. Beloved, within you there is a magnificence, greatness, and the ability to live bolder, larger, and more exuberantly than you may have imagined. Good grief. Come on, son. Awaken that keen spirit, hungry for adventure and new experience. The angel of Jupiter, the spirit of bold expansion and divine generosity, lives within you. Your spirit cannot be made small, but must be free. Start now, feel the endlessness of your heart. What can be done today to live bigger? A smile, a yes to that offer of adventure, sharing vulnerability without fear, taking a step forward into the unknown, daring to imagine the divine doesn't just happen to you, but happens through you, as you. Embrace the courage of your own heart and dare to dream, beloved. The bold divine nature within you is calling you to great things. Now is your time to awaken. I mean, literally, come on. That's incredible. Lovers. Now, could this be what it seems to be? Could this be all about a loving relationship? Because we have those all the time, don't we? We have those not just with our partners, but with our families and friends, co-workers, people we spend a lot of time with, that we love and that we cherish. Now, we might not be physical lovers with everybody. I'm not, that's up to you. Being appropriate, obviously. But we do love other people. Love is a magic word that holds the universe together. It is both an emotion and something ephemeral that lives like a fire's glow, or the pink light on the clouds after the sun has set. It is alive and yet undefinable. It causes the heart to beat more rapidly, feelings to show, and young people to write, sing, dance, and become totally immersed in its hold. Love can beckon coyly or flaunt itself with wanton abandon. Love can live and grow seemingly forever or vanish in a fleeting moment when we least suspect. And in the twilight of our years, reflecting on the life we have lived, it is love which colours every turn and twist of our memory. And when we pass from this earth plane, it will be love that will light our soul on its journey home. So love is the inspiration, right? Love is the motivation. Love is the reason that we maintain ourselves. It's also the reason to evolve. Yes, it's love. It drives you forward and pulls you back to your heart. It makes the mind mad with misunderstanding and breaks it open into enlightened compassion. It is love. Your yearning heart shall have it. Your destiny is to be the lover of the beloved. Be open to it in all its forms. Be the god and goddess of love and paint the town red. Play in passionate embrace with life as your lover, with life as your lover, with life as your lover, and prepare to receive even more than what you believe you are capable of handling. Because we do set boundaries for ourselves. We do set a limit to what we think we can handle, but we can handle more than that. We just don't think we can, or we don't want to, because it's difficult. And the transformation process can seem difficult, but which may stop us from choosing to go through the transformation process in the first place, I guess. I mean, it has for me. It's a challenging thought process. It's a challenging thing to think about, and sometimes you have to push yourself, and then when you push yourself, you get a massive shove and you end up spiralling into this awakening state of gooiness where everything's coming to light and everything's turning to goo in your mind, and then you have to put it all back together again. And then when you put it back together again, if you put it back together again with clarity and awareness, you're putting it back together again, seeing all the component parts. You're able to put it back together again in a way that makes you and allows you to choose a different path. You can put aside the things that were holding you in place, the patterns of you that were previously holding you to where you are. They've all mashed together. They've all meshed together, become aware little component parts, and then you can rebuild from that. You can rebuild from it, and you can say, well, actually, those parts aren't really me anymore. I don't want them to be me anymore. I want to move on from them, and my goal is to be different. So to be different, I have to be different. Therefore, when I put myself back together, I'm going to be a completely different thing. I'm going to be a completely different person, like a butterfly. The butterfly is totally different to the caterpillar because their component parts have been mushed together, rejiggered, put into a different pattern, and some elements have been, I don't know, morphed into something different. And you can do that through awareness. You can do that through this process of transformation. You can do that with love. You can do that with awareness, in love with life. Because if you're in love with life, you're in love with the process of accepting the next moment, bringing the next moment in, bringing in the potential, and seeing the unfulfilled potential, and wanting to be the being, be the experiencer, be the element in life that says, I'm going to pull that into the potential, into the practical, into the 3D, into the experience that I'm having. Because when I'm having that experience, other people are going to have the experience as well. And it will radiate outwards. It always radiate outwards. Because, as in Beyond Tarot was saying, Siobhan is her name, what she was saying was that when we reveal ourselves to other people, when we are going through that period or that stage of sharing ourselves or aspects of ourselves or elements of ourselves that we wouldn't necessarily have shared before, who are we actually sharing with? We are sharing with other people, but we're also sharing with ourselves, because we're all connected. We're all this consciousness. We're all energy. We are all made from the same stuff, right? We're all connected. I'm looking through my eyes, you're looking through your eyes, but consciousness is looking through our eyes. Consciousness is there, it's one thing. So when we're revealing something about ourselves, we're revealing something to ourselves. So when we're coming through this creative process of change and we're revealing a new aspect of who we are, we're revealing the possibility to ourselves and everybody else who's seeing it that that's possible. Possibility becomes probability. Probability becomes actuality. Sometimes. So the more probability of people seeing the actual possibility of things, the more probable it will come into existence for more and more people. That was wordy. Okay, 26. What are we on? Nearly half an hour. Okay, I don't want to do too long. The guardian of the soul family. I'm going to go straight in. You're being drawn to kindred spirits in this physical world by loving guardians in the spiritual worlds. If you feel you are leaving relationships behind, do not be afraid. The space that such courageous action creates is sometimes necessary in order to have room for the new to enter your sphere of consciousness. So this could be something that holds us back. This could be something that we fear, is that if we change too much, the people that are in our lives won't be able to accept the new us. The people in our lives may become people that we no longer personally want to associate with because they're not on the same level, they don't have the same framework. So it can be detrimental to old relationships. Now, is that a bad thing? Or is it a possibility that's just opening a new door for other people to come in that are more aligned to our own or our new level of frequency and desire and hope and joy and thought processes and consciousness and our awareness? Because if we're constantly going back to people who are from our old lives, from our old us's, from our old personas, we're kind of drawing ourselves back to being that person again and again and again. And that's difficult when we've moved forward and we are different now, and we may not want to have that pressure to perform as our old selves when we're with other people. And we also don't necessarily want the pressure of our old friends just simply not getting it. It's difficult because literally not everybody is tuned in or aware. They don't want to be, and that's fine for them. And it's just not aligned with us or you right now. There's a great soul love calling you into more intimate connection now. It is sanctioned by the divine. It is karmic, destined to fulfill. There is love that you are to experience in connection with particular souls predetermined by the divine plan. If you are struggling to fulfill the soul purpose in your current relationships, take heart, for you are being helped by divine guardians who understand and support the sacred purpose of your relationship. Be open to current relationships healing, whether that means improved communication and enriched experience, which is definitely a possibility, or the realization that you have traveled as far as you can together, and know that new relationships are going to be an important aspect of your spiritual destiny being fulfilled. Trust in the divine timing of your life and open your heart to the guardians who help you with unconditional love now. Wow, okay, fantastic. Let's pop that up there. Okay, I need to bring this to a close. So I'm just going to go to the Crystal Medicine Oracle. Oh, I don't get the impression you've got too many decks. Okay. Ooh, that one literally flew out. Oh my goodness, look at that. Freedom. Eagle, number 12. Blue barite. Blue barite. This transformation, choosing evolution and going through the process knowingly and with awareness is challenging, but it leads to an empowerment and a level of freedom that we don't currently have where we are. The whole reason for looking for evolution is we seek change. We seek change for a reason, whatever that reason is. What we end up with is a level of empowerment that allows us to exist in a new way, being a new person, bringing in new forms, having different impacts on the people around us, positive impacts. There could be negative impacts as well, but sometimes it doesn't really matter because for their own growth, people need negative experiences as well as positive ones. But it all leads to this love, to this freedom, to this ability to move on. I just want to read that card. That's the only one I'm going to pull from this deck for this group. I'm not going to read the whole thing, just the first paragraph. You have called this wonderful card and energy into your life as it's time to set yourself free. Good grief. I mean, obviously it's freedom card. It's just aligns so much. Life can easily create times of challenge and struggle, making us feel stuck and tied down. Sometimes we even feel trapped in our own minds, caught up in our own cobwebs of rights and wrongs, old beliefs and conditions, as we constantly look for a path to freedom. The great news is that freedom is available to you at all times, in every moment. When you can rise above your old conditions and restraints and see them from a different point of view, you will be able to set yourself free. So yeah, turning yourself into a gooey mess to try and reach this level of freedom and free thought, where you want to free yourself, seeing it from a third perspective, from a witness's perspective, from a different point of view. So actually turning into a gooey mesh and pulling everything apart and seeing all the component parts that used to make you up impartially and without objectivity, allows you to then divine and discern who you want to be, what elements of you are you going to take with you, and what elements of you are you going to merge into and accept into and integrate into who you are now. We can't put them to one side. We can't put them in a box and put them away, never to be thought of again. That's just creating a shadow. And when we create a shadow, that shadow will pop up at some point in the future. It's inevitable. The door will open. It will be triggered by something. So if we want true freedom, if we want to be able to move on completely from an old self, from old patterns, from old habits, from old being, from old thought habits and patterns and blah, 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 blah. We want to move on from all of that. We can't just shove it away and say that doesn't exist anymore, because it does. It will always exist. It's in our history. It's in our past. What we can do is move into a place of acceptance, of allowance, of saying, I'm fumbling my words now because it's all coming out too fast. I need to slow down. Slow down. Slow down. And now it's gone silent. Okay. Oh dear. I'm rubbing my eyes because I don't know why I need to rub my eyes. So put the glasses down there for a second. One sec. Oh goodness. We can't put who we used to be to one side. What we can do, or we can put things to one side, because that's what we've done. We've done that in the past. We've put things in boxes. We've hidden them by the shadow. And the shadow has kept us safe. The shadow has kept those things suppressed because we put them to one side and we want to stay safe. And by putting them over there in the box, we are now safe, right? We can carry on with our lives. We are safe. Those things are put away. But then something comes along, triggers the box flies open, and all these things come flying out. And we remember the things that make us cringe. We remember the things that we want to forget. We remember all those instances and something bad happened. We remember the fact that we weren't accepted as a child when we were being boisterous and loud. And we put those things aside, but they've come out again, so then we have to put them back. So if we're going through this transformation process, we're turning everything into goo and we're looking at all the component parts and those elements of ourselves, we need to look at them completely and even draw the ones that are out of the boxes in the shadow so we can see them completely. And what's the point then in putting them back in the box and putting more in the box of other stuff that we want to reject about ourselves? We don't want to reject those elements about ourselves. We want to know that those are elements of us, who we used to be. And then we want to accept the fact that those things have happened, that is who we used to be. And then we want to accept that fact. We want to accept it. And we want to say, okay, fantastic. That's who I used to be. I'm now seeking to be a different person. So that's who I used to be. And that actually gave me strength here. It gave me strength there. It made me vulnerable there. It made me emotional there. And those things are okay. Those things are okay. And I'm going to integrate that acceptance of those elements of myself into who I'm going to be in the future. Because by accepting the elements of myself, by accepting myself and for who I've been in the past, accepting everything I've been through, I am allowing myself to say that is how I came to this point in time and this transition of transformation. Those are the reasons why I chose to change. And that's given me my power to evolve. Thank you, actually. Thank you, because without you, I don't know where I would be right now. That's it. That's what I've been trying to say in other readings. Nah, thank you. That's amazing. Okay, group 1. Goodness me, what a reading. I'm packing away now because I'm going to go into group 2. I'm going to keep talking. But that was incredible, actually, because this transformation process is not always easy, right? It's a bit challenging. It's a bit mental. It's very mental. It's psychologically challenging because we are psychological creatures. we are... Oh, no, I want that. Don't take that away. Okay. We are fundamentally creatures of habit, and it's hard to break the habit and become something new. And to break the habit, you have to realise there's a habit in the first place, and that there's a point where there's a need for evolution. Like you become aware of the fact that maybe there are elements that you can purposefully change. But there is guidance, that there is growth, that there is more to life than what the previous pattern allowed us to see or be or become. Anyway, I'm going to go into group 2, which I think was Commit to Happiness. I say I think because I put the cards over there and I'm not 100% sure which way around I put them. So hopefully this is group 2. If the other card was group 2, it's now group 3, okay? Okay. So just to clarify, the other card is Ruminate, just in case you can't remember either. Okay. Commit to happiness, commit to happiness. It's very demanding, isn't it? Commit to happiness. I mean, how lovely is that thought? I'm going to commit to happiness, and that's all I'm going to commit to. What happens then if you become unhappy? Or something comes along and you have no control over it, it just sort of happens, and then you are thrust into the realm of being unhappy, but you've committed to being happy. That's a lot of pressure. Let's see what this reading is about, because I'm finding that personally a challenging concept, because it's feels like spiritual bypassing. It feels a bit like just trying to get through life with positive thoughts only, because, and then when, you know, the shit hits the fan, which it generally does, we're not prepared for it, because we're trying to be happy, we're trying to be joyful, we're trying to think of a light, we're putting the pressure on ourselves to always be okay, and that's just not possible, right? Life doesn't work that way, because life is duality. Life is more than just happiness. Unfortunately, it also involves things like anger and sorrow and regret and grief and all that other horrible stuff that we would wish we didn't have to go through. But we do go through it regardless of what we want, and we go through it regardless of how much we commit to being happy. This is like being a perfectionist. If everything always has to be perfect, and then something comes along, like another person, because other people do exist, human beings are all around us, and so is the weather, and so are animals, and so's traffic, and so's all the other elements that can ever fuck up a day. And then perfection's not achievable. And that leads to frustration, it leads to disharmony, it leads to a feeling of disgrace, of guilt, of inability, of not being able to do, and it's not realistic. But if we go through our day knowing that there's a potential that this might not turn out absolutely perfectly, it might roughly be what we planned, and we're just going to enjoy the process of every element of it, and therefore, and even the bad things that happen, we're going to be like, oh well, yeah, okay, that happened, that sucks, let's move on, or yeah, let's get angry about that and really frustrated and rant for a bit, and then once you've ranted, we can be like, right, that was a really good rant, I enjoyed that, thank you very much, let's crack on, you know. you have to have these elements of allowance that allow for things to not turn out exactly as they are. And if you're committing to happiness, what does that even look like? What does committing to happiness look like? I'm almost curious enough to read the book here. I think this is one of the reasons why I don't use this deck. No, I'm not going to read the book, because that's not the point. The point here is that this has stimulated a bit of a rant from me, actually. I think you'll find that was a bit of a rant. And I'm going in with the I can't remember what these cards are called, Journey of Love cards, because I'm interested to know what this deck could possibly tell us about this commitment to happiness, commit to happiness. Because it feels like nothing, it's not giving me anything for this commit to happiness card. Nope. Okay, let's do this deck. This is the Circles of Healing. Circles of Healing. Give me some guidance on this commit to happiness card for group 2, please. Oh, that one. There's 2 there. Okay. Let's see. I ground my energy, creating a safe, secure, and loving reality with the universe as my ally. Hold the card so you can actually see it. Yes, because this doesn't feel grounded to me. This really doesn't feel grounded in reality. It feels grounded in a need to achieve something that is impossible to maintain, like a desperate need. It feels like a desperate need to find that point of happiness and to stay there, to stay in that state and never come out of it. Because isn't that what life is supposed to be? If God exists, if we reach enlightenment, we reach a level of happiness and serenity and tranquility, and that's where we should stay, right? That's where we belong. That is where we come from. We were that before we were born. And we were that when we will be that when we die. And our essence of who we are is probably a very still, tranquil place. It feels fucking amazing when you meditate and you achieve some sort of level of awareness of it. And it's tempting to want to stay there. But we're in the 3D. We're spiritual beings having human experiences. And human experiences draw out, as I said in group 1, from the unfulfilled potential. And you can't draw out anything from the unfulfilled potential if all you're experiencing is a flat line of happiness and tranquility. And because we're in a 3D, it isn't possible to maintain happiness and tranquility every day, every moment. Because there is always a point of annoyance. There is always a point of a lesson that needs to be learned, or something that brings out the reason why we are seeking that level of tranquility and happiness. The reason why is what we've put in the box of our shadow, and we want to deny that part of ourselves. We want to seek the happiness and tranquility so that we don't ever have to go back there, so we don't have to think about it. And again, this is linked to group 1. By grounding our energy into this place, we are in fact creating a safe, secure and loving relationship with reality. Because grounding involves accepting there is every element of life to experience. And being here in the 3D, on this ground, on this planet, with the energy of this planet that we are made of, by grounding into that, we are saying, I know that this is where I am. I know this reality is duality, and I accept it, and I allow it, and I allow myself to deal with it the best way I possibly can, with guidance from my internal awareness, consciousness, with guidance from my higher self, with guidance from guardians, from spirit guides, whatever you believe in, with guidance. It's difficult, but maintaining a sense of happiness and tranquility and serenity at all times is difficult as well. It's not really all that realistic, in my opinion. And then we have, my energies are renewed and swiftly magnetized, all good things for the happiness, pleasure, and delight of my heart. So I guess this is the other side of it, right? This is the other side. For the purpose of duality. Purposes of duality. All things are dualistic. So there is this element. My energies are renewed and swiftly magnetized, all good things for the happiness, pleasure, and delight of my heart. And who wouldn't want that? This is manifestation. This is saying, bring happiness to my heart. And it's saying, I'm magnetized to all the good things that can come to my heart. And that's a brilliant thing to do. That's a brilliant thing to do, because you are allowed to do that. You can do that. Everyone can do that, because that's the way we manifest the next moment. That's the way we bring forth the future. The now is the constant bringing forth of the next moment, it's the manifestation of the next moment again and again and again and again and again and again and again. So if we magnetize ourselves to the things that we consider good and make us happy and pleasurable, and they bring delight to our hearts, absolutely. Maybe that's what this card means, committing to happiness. But this feels more finite. This feels more like, commit to happiness. It feels like you're saying, I only want happiness. This is saying, I would like to have some happiness in my life. You know? Why not? Do it. Always do it. Always, always, always do it. Invite happiness into your life, for sure. Invite tranquility. Invite serenity. Invite it. But there is a point where we invite it, and I hate to say it, but this is the thought that's just come to my head. What makes us happy now isn't permanent, and that was difficult to say. It isn't permanent. It isn't something that always travels with us through time and makes us happy every single day, every single moment of every single day. What makes us happy now could become boring. It could become argumentative. It could become challenging. It could become alternative to what we thought it was going to be. What we invite in to make us happy, we might realise doesn't actually fulfil that briefing. My computer just pinged and there's no reason for it. I have no idea why it did that. It does this every now and then. It sort of goes, I'm still here. Interesting. It's now 34 degrees. Now, I can say, this is a good... My air conditioning unit has made me extremely happy. because it means I can get cool on hot days. And my room is in the roof of our house, and in the UK our houses are built to retain heat. So my room is the hottest room in the house because heat rises. I work in my room every day. I'm in my room. So I was sitting here and I was sweltering hot, and I was like, the one thing that would make me happy is my air conditioning. Bloody amazing. I'm so glad I did it. I did it a couple of years ago now, so it's an older unit, but it works. And yeah, I committed to that level of happiness. It's expensive, but it's worth it. So see, it's got the dual aspects. I have to weigh up the cost with the need to stay cool. I have MS. Heat affects me big time styly. I can't do it. Anyway, I don't think there's anything else. Is there anything else in that deck? No, I'm not. I'm not doing tarot. We're doing these cards. You told me to use these cards. We're using these cards. You want me to use tarot? Jesus Christ. Make your bloody mind up. Okay. Here we go. Light Seers. I've got too many decks now. I've got no space to put the boxes. Oh my god. On the floor. Oh. It's just you stressing me out on purpose. It feels like there's something else. A bigger picture. Ooh, Hermit. Hermit card. Oh, okay, so committing to happiness, to being tranquil, to being serene, to being tranquil. I've said that. I said tranquil twice. Didn't I? I think I did. Being a hermit. Because one of my thoughts was, we're not monks, right? We're not hermits. We don't squirrel ourselves away and sit on a rock and contemplate. And only contemplate, and therefore don't interact with anyone or anything. Don't have that kind of... I mean, some of them, maybe you are, maybe you have that kind of level of autonomy to go off on your own and just live and be happy and tranquil on your own, and have literally no interactions with anything or anyone, and you found a nice spot on the planet somewhere that has good weather all the time and that doesn't have any natural disasters that can possibly come along. That was the only card that wanted to come out of that deck, because I needed to say this. But we're not, are we? Generally speaking, we've got lives to live. We've got people to talk to. We've got people to work with. We've got people to look after. We've got people to bump into in the supermarket because they're being annoying and taking up all the space. We've got, it's life. We've got life. We've got interactions. We've got nature. And we've got weather. And we've got all the elements of what make us who we are in this 3D experience, because this is a 3D experience. We are consciousness experiencing itself within a 3D format. So imagine this. Everyone's eyes, everyone who's looking out or is aware of the world around them, because they can hear, maybe they're blind or they're deaf, it doesn't matter. If they've got some sense of the world around them, they're experiencing. And the thing that's looking out, the thing that's experiencing, what is it? It's conscious awareness. It's the field that holds us all together. It's the field looking out. So the field is looking out through all of our eyes, through all of our ears, through all of our touch and senses of emotion. It's looking out. It's feeling the world around it. So how did I put this to myself a little while back? If I was, so say for example, I'm 0 point consciousness, right? We're all 0 point consciousness. There's one 0 point consciousness. So all things look out through their eyes, and it's 0 point consciousness that is looking through those eyes. Okay, imagine everyone can see, they're looking out. It's 0 point consciousness that's seeing through those eyes. So when I'm looking at you and you're looking at me, we're just looking at ourselves. So we interact. We're interacting with ourselves. So we do have an element of hermit, because this is 0 point consciousness, but 0 point consciousness is broken up into all these constitute parts to experience the 3D. And because we're in the 3D, we have autonomous minds that don't remember where we come from. And therefore, when we interact, we don't know that we are all 0 point consciousness looking at itself or experiencing itself. So we have this level of need to be happy, to be tranquil, to be serene, because this is where we come from. We come from a state of serenity. We come from that. We go back to that. We're just not in that kind of level of experience whilst we're on the planet. And as much as we think that we can create it on this planet, because other people exist, it's not always possible. Amber, tree, ancestor healing. Yes, we've got a lot of ancestral kind of feedback into our lives and the way that they exist now, right? Because as much as we think we've evolved as a race, if we look back to Victorian times, things are very, very different. If we look back to the 50s, things are very, very different. If we look back to the 80s, things are very, very different. If we look back to the 90s, we think things are very, very different. We think things are very, very different. And but we've still bought, there are still elements of the way we function as a society, wherever that society is in the world. There's still elements of how this society functions, the way governments work, the way governments interact with each other, the way health systems work, the way money works, the way belief systems work, the way science thinks, the way all of this stuff works, still has a lot embedded in the past. Still has an awful lot embedded in the past. And generally speaking, it's possible. And I'm just saying it's possible because I feel like it is possible that those things are holding us back a little bit, that they're telling us we have to be a certain way, we have to think a certain way, because this is the way we've always come to these conclusions. But how does that make the conclusions right then? If old ways of thinking have led to ways of knowing and understanding ourselves and the way we work, but it's also taken power away from people and given it to other people. It's also enabled the manipulation of thought processes, of societies, of where the power lies, of where the money sits, of all of those things. And we're still holding on to those frameworks. We've got ancestral healing. And our need for happiness, a happiness that looks a certain way, comes from that kind of system, because that's where we take our ideas from, because that's where our parents took their ideas from, that's where their parents took their ideas from, and so on and so forth. We've got ancestral lines leading down, going, this is what we learn. And every new generation has brought something new in, but they've still got this old thread of learning going through. So the happiness that we're seeking, what does it look like? Where does it come from? Is it genuinely something that's inside us? Is it something that we've sought for ourselves? Or is it something that we think we need to have and it looks like a certain way? Questions. What's the ancestral healing? Is there an ancestral thread taking us through? challenge. This is a challenging question, because it means you need a level of awareness. It's challenging as well, because it's also turning around thinking about the reality of what it is we're trying to achieve and maybe putting that to one side and realizing that there may be a different way of being that doesn't put all the pressure on us to be a certain way and to achieve a certain level of happiness, and that maybe we can reframe that happiness into something that allows us to experience life from a broader perspective with enjoyment. And then the last card is celebration, sacred ceremony. Which I think speaks for itself, really, doesn't it? I mean, we can get to that point of inner peace and inner tranquility and inner serenity, but I personally don't feel, and I'm getting the message that it's not realistic to do that by bypassing everything else and only seeking the happiness and tranquility and serenity. It's by doing ancestral healing, it's by going through the challenge, it's by realizing that happiness can be found, but there's also going to be other elements of life that aren't so happy, and that we can work with them to carry on evolving. We can carry on evolving and find happiness in different places, in different ways, in different manifestations. Happiness, the feeling of happiness, what makes us happy, changes if we allow it. And with those changes, our happiness can grow. And with those changes, our happiness can develop, and it can help us evolve. But if we're holding on to a specific picture of happiness, of a specific way of being happy, of what that looks like, and then we've got to maintain that specific idea and idealization, we're going to become miserable, and then we're going to become unhappy. And that's the complete opposite of what we want to achieve. Okay. Again, I'm closing that reading down, so we can move on to group 3. I'm going to keep talking because I am tidying up and I need to put stuff away, because otherwise I'm going to go crazy. There are too many boxes around. And this makes me happy. Putting things away properly. I haven't put that card away properly. I didn't just put it on the top. I put it back into the deck. Right. I'm going to go into group 3. Group 1, group 2. Group 1, group 2. Group 3. Okay. Hello, group 3. You picked the Ruminate card. Interesting card. Ruminate. Dream. Feels like dreaming. Feels like imagination. So I saw a dragon there. I'm not sure if that is a dragon. We've got butterflies and fairies. We have a horse coming out of a seashell. You see that? It's an interesting card. Ruminate. Dreaming. Imagination. Thinking. When I think of the word ruminate, I think about I associate it with the word thinking, ruminating. It's also daydreaming. Allowing the mind to wander, allowing the mind to go where it wants to go, allowing yourself to just flow with the thought process and just letting it develop and do what it wants to do. Because then if you allow it to do that, if you allow it to just wander and be, then it can be anything it wants to be. And because consciousness is looking through us all the time, it is therefore allowed to be, and it is allowed to dream, and it's allowed to explore the mind. And the mind is an amazing thing because it has this imagination, and if fed, the imagination can be quite a wondrous thing. I just did a reading on the imagination, and so if you want to watch that, you can. But this feels different. This feels like daydreaming. This feels like allowing the mind to relax, letting go of all the human things, just relaxing, and allowing the mind just to make some shit up. And in the making of the shit up, you are actually bringing forth potential. These three readings are about bringing forth potential. But this feels more dreamy. This feels more ethereal somehow. It's quite a lovely feeling. Okay, let's see what comes out of the circles of healings cards. Allowing yourself to let yourself go. Let yourself free thinking without any kind of governance or need to lead the thought process, or manipulation or distortion. Just allow the mind to wander into where it wants to be, where it wants to go. Ooh, okay. I surrender. Sorry, I read a bit of that before I read it out. I surrender wholly and completely into profound renewal and multi-dimensional healing. Letting the mind wander is like allowing yourself to go into another dimension where you can draw out the possibilities within the realm of potential. I surrender wholly. Surrendering is going into the state of wandering mind, free thinking. I surrender wholly and completely and profound renewal and multidimensional healing, trusting in the magnificent grace that guides my soul. Yeah, because when the mind wanders, we're not an active participant in where it goes. We're not, as a human, as the human form. It's almost like we switch the human form off. We just allow the brain to do what it's going to do. When we allow it to do that, we hand over the reins, I guess, to 0 point consciousness, to conscious awareness, to just what is, and we can move in and out of dimensions and do all sorts of things with our brain, of our imagination, our mind can just go into these realms, and we can be led through, according to this, we can be led through that. By the guidance of our souls. Who's our soul? The wild grace of the unpredictable reveals new direction that I trust and recognize as the way for happiness and divine fruition. Fantastic. It really does open us up to a possibility outside of what we would normally consider to be feasible or possible for ourselves, right? Because we allow ourselves to dream outside the box. Going into this wandering mind, going into free thinking, allows us to accept and agree and bring forth an element of consciousness that wants to guide us, and we can allow it to take us where it needs us to be, or it needs to be, because it is us. We are spirit having a human experience. And being in this state of the unpredictable, and being in a state of you don't really know what's going to happen next, but that's okay because you don't need to. And you're just wandering mind, can reveal new things, new directions, new possibilities, new ways of thinking. It can be quite enlightening. It can be exciting. It could be different. And if we were to be fully aware that this was happening, because I think we are. I am. When I daydream, my mind just wanders, and I'm aware of what's happening at the time. I might not remember it completely afterwards because it's like being in a dream. But there's elements of it that you bring back with you that you touch, and it feeds into some form of pattern recognition that I think it has an internal impact, because it's a bit like being given key codes which touching certain elements of the pattern that is you, touching them. You might not remember every single aspect or the direct sort of picture of what those things were, but they've touched you anyway, and therefore you come out of it sort of maybe not aware of everything that's just happened, but something has happened. I don't know. I don't know. Don't ask me. Sorry, I split. I've gone mad. I split the deck there. Ooh, I love these cards. They're so gorgeous. Triskelion of divine alignment harmonizes and heals my body, mind, and soul with the spiritual rays of amethyst, turquoise, and chrysoprase. That's nice. Thank you. That's lovely. That. What a beautiful card. It's beautiful. So is going into free thinking, free mind, is that relaxing enough so that we can align to a higher state of being? Maybe that's what it's like to go into the next field of existence. Right, we're in the 3D. What's in the 4D? What's the 5D look like? How does that work? Is it when we switch our human brains off for a bit and go into a dream state, whether we're asleep or awake? Is that us entering a new level of reality that we can't deal with whilst we're in the 3D, because we're in the 3D? When we switch the brain off, we allow our mind to wander, and because we are energy, our mind is energy, our thoughts are energy. Our thoughts are still 0 point consciousness looking through, so it's looking through. It switches the mind off, the body off, the brain off, the thought process of the human aspects of who we are, the thought processes go, and then what we end up with is a free-form energy being who is us, who is able to transition between realms, and therefore when we think about what we've seen, we can only piece that back together again in terms and frameworks that we can understand. So that's why some of it's very fantastical, because our mind is only able to associate things with things that we know and understand. And we understand things like magical creatures, dragons, unicorns, angels, ghosts, spirit guides, all of that. We can associate these other dimensional beings that we would actually probably encounter very differently as the spiritual form, but we can only interpret them in these ways that we can understand as a human being with the human brain, because that's the only way that they are formed into our reality that we can express and understand. So what I'm saying is these things exist, but we as humans give them a form so that we can understand them in our 3D selves, because that's the only way we can do that. It's not possible for us to actually talk about them or think about them or see them for the way they actually are, because they're in a different dimension or something, and because they're in a different dimension, we can only see part of them, or we can basically only see them in a term that we can, in a framework that we can understand. So yeah, all those things. I'm making sense to myself, I think. I'm not sure if I'm making sense to anybody else. I don't know what was I talking about. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't. This. Oh, sorry. This reading is kind of cool, actually. I like this. Ooh. Heaven. Heaven. Oh, that's beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? Is heaven part of this? Heaven. Tranquility, serenity, calm. Heaven. Heaven's another dimension. Heaven is the dimension where we leave the 3D, right? It's where we go back to. We go back to. What do we go back to? Do we go back to being part of another dimension? Or do we go back to 0 point consciousness? Do we go back to... I mean, okay, so it completely depends on... where we want to go back to. And it is completely possible that actually some people on the planet do come from 0 point consciousness that is in another dimension, that has come down into this dimension to have the experience of being in this dimension. So there's layers of reality, of understanding, of there's layers of being. And the layers above the 3D are very different to what we experience in the 3D. And the 0 point consciousness is looking through all the layers, is experiencing all the layers, because everything is possible within the potential of the void that is all things. And consciousness seeps through, through the whole lot, through every single layer. And we've limited the layers to 12, which is bullshit. In our minds, 12 is that's the top-notch number. It's like there's infinite levels. We just can't name them. That does not mean they don't exist. Just for a moment, Joy. Heaven is going back to a state. Is it always going back to a state of complete tranquility? Are the dimensions more joyful and happy and tranquil than our one? Is our dimension the 3D dimension? I mean, this is a stupid question, right? Because it is. The 3D dimension is the hardest. Because we live in duality, and we live in forgetting, and we live in a state of just really not knowing who we are, why we're here, what we're doing, and why we're doing it. We live in time. Yeah. And my mind wandered then. I was shuffling and my mind wandered, and I don't think I have any more cards to pull out of that deck. Oh wow, this is coming up to an hour and a half. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Truth and integrity. Moving forward. and cleansing. Okay, I just heard the words cleansing the human soul allows us to move into a state of awareness. I'm battling with this. I am battling with this concept because, as I said yesterday in my head, I think it was about 10 o'clock at night, and someone was talking about cleansing, needing to cleanse the soul. I'm like, why would we need to cleanse our souls? Our souls are perfect. Our souls are consciousness. Our souls are conscious awareness. Our souls are the essence of 0-point consciousness. It's perfect. Why does our soul need to be cleansed? It doesn't. But what it means is... okay. What it means is... as human beings, we have memories, programming, history. We have a lens that we look through. We have masks that we put on. We have all the elements that create the pattern of who we are. The pattern of who we are can be literally anything. It can look like anything, but it has all the elements in it that we will associate with us and how we interact with other people and how we see the world and how what we believe in. All of that, everything is put into this pattern of us. This pattern of us, every single one of us has one, is what we consider to be our soul. Now there's an outer element to this, there's an element to this that we also think sits outside. I think we're all aware that there's this congealed mass that is us, of all the patterned behaviours that we have in our lives. And then some of us want to think of a bigger picture, so we have a soul that surrounds it, or that holds it, or that maintains. I don't know what we believe, because I don't believe that. I don't believe it. But I'm getting the feeling that this element of who we are is the thing that needs to be cleansed. The pattern of who we are needs to be cleansed, because at the moment we have got this. We have got the soul. We have got the conscious awareness. It is within every single element of who we are, and it will always reflect that out. It will always be the mirror of what we believe about ourselves. It will always be the reflection of that. It will project through it. In fact, it will help us become that over and over and over and over again, because that's the way it works. It's the way it functions. It's the way the wave turns into the form. It's the way our perceptions create the next moment. It's the way that our perception and our integrity and our ability to observe and imagine and bring forth into the next moment happens, because we've got this pattern that we base all of our desires on, and we know the next moment is going to fit within the pattern. It fits within the pattern every time. The soul cleansing element of what we believe we need to do is the cleansing of this pattern, because the more we cleanse the pattern that we are existing in, the more aware we become of why we are the way we are, what the choices that we make and why we make those choices. The more we work with that element of ourselves, the more able we are to think outside of those elements and start to think beyond what we believe right now is possible. The more we accept the soul, the more we accept consciousness, the more we allow it into our lives, the more free thinking we can do, the more we're able to ruminate, the more we are able to imagine, the more we're able to dream, the more we're able to connect to higher frequencies of being. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for clarifying that. And that's where we find truth and integrity, and that's how we move forward. Wow. Is there anything else that you want? Okay. We've got one last card from here. And then we're done. See, I saw this one on the bottom of the deck. I think it's the one we had in group 1. My energies and renewed and My energies are renewed and swiftly magnetized. All good things come for the happiness, pleasure, and delight of my heart. This was in group 2. Fantastic. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again. Take care.